back in the studio, and now my guest is Roy O'Connor. Good morning, Roy. It's
Hi,
nice
Bob.
to see you.
Good to see you.
Since last month that we were together, we have had some new residents come in, of course. Can you give us or give them a little background as to what does the board of directors do? How is it composed? Where do the people come from? This type of thing, very shortly.
Well, we have a Green Spring Board of Directors. It has 9 members, okay? Matter of fact, the South Region Board, which is the 4 communities of South Region, will meet here on August 18th, so we have a meeting coming up. But on the 9 members on our board, we have, let's see, 3 in Virginia, and 1 in Florida, 5 in Maryland, okay? The original one used to be up here, but has moved to Florida. But we have a really good group. The 9 members, of course, myself as resident directors, and then the 8 others. We have people like, first of all, Jim Anders, who's chairman of our board. Okay, he lives up near Oakcrest. Matter of fact, he keeps saying in the future he's going to move into Oakcrest. Okay, that's kind of his goal. But Jim is a really good guy, and he's the chair of our board. Right after him, we have Jackson Bain, who I think a lot of people have met. Maybe the new people haven't, but his background was television and public relations. Okay, he used to be on an NBC affiliate here in the D.C. area. So he handles a lot of public relations type of items for the board. Very knowledgeable in that area.
Are these members of the board, are they elected or appointed?
They're appointed by the board. It's what we call a self-appointing process. We have a board committee that interviews candidates, and then they recommend it to the board, and the board would approve it and vote. It's the same thing like when they choose, the resident director. When I was interviewed along with 4 of the residents, and then they selected me to join. But it's a self-appointing board, yes. So we have some other interesting people there. The nice thing about it is each one has sort of a different skill background. We have Stephanie Reel. She's the vice president and vice chancellor of Johns Hopkins University, in charge of all information technology for the university as well as the hospital system. She has a very, very important job there. Yeah. We have Betty Price, who comes here often.
From Ashby Pond.
Right. She's really has her background, of course, in wellness and fitness, and that is her main focus area. So it's that nature. We have Carolyn Jacobs, who is a healthcare attorney from Baltimore. Very familiar with all the rules and laws to do with Medicare, Medicaid, and so on.
So what you're saying is that each member of the board adds his or her expertise to the overall proceedings.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
what else do you have for us? What's new with the board of the
Well, I would say, since the last time I'm here, I just have to mention that, our softball team did compete again at Charlestown, and we lost to our nemesis again, of course, Oakcrest, but we did win out over Charlestown, so we ended up 1-1. Yeah.
You ended up what place?
3rd place.
Third place. Good for you.
It was interesting this year because when we arrived, it was pouring down rain.
Oh, really?
And fortunately, we didn't have to play in the very first game. But then it did dry up, and the weather was fine for the rest of the day. And
well, you had a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. We had, a lot of players. I think we had 16 or 17, including 6 women. Okay, so it was co-ed. So we encourage the women to keep coming out. We appreciate their support, and we had a good time. So again, it's like the old Brooklyn thing, wait till next year, okay? But we had that. At the end of May, we had our second quarter board meeting, okay, which was a little bit late this year, but we did have that May 31st. All the reports for Green Spring are good. The occupancy remains very high. We're at 98, 98.2.
Does that hold true, excuse me, with all Erickson occupancy?
Erickson is doing very well. The average, I just spoke to Alan Butler was here yesterday. He's the president of Ericsson, and he said that the overall average occupancy for all of the 17 communities is 96%.
96%,
which is high and above
that's
the
amazing.
Industry average. Yes.
The average, I think, is in the 80s. Isn't
Well,
it?
that's around low 90s, but it's
Low 90s.
yeah, but 96%. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the key to our financial success. If we stay fully occupied, that brings in additional revenue. It helps support a lot of the programs that we have. So it's very important.
I don't know if this is cogent or not, but is Ericsson on the stock
Ericsson is
market?
no, it's a private, for-profit corporation.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
no, so it's privately held. And just as
I
we
thought
are,
it was on Wall Street.
yeah, for the new residents here, I mean, we are Green Spring Village Incorporated. This board I talked about is for Green Spring Village Incorporated. We are a not-for-profit, 501c3. We're granted this status because we provide services to the aging, okay, housing, healthcare, and so on. And so we own all our buildings, grounds, and equipment, and we pay the Ericsson company to manage it for us. And so it's been a very good relationship, and they do a great job for us. So we're really pleased with that.
Roy, you tell me that you have some important information that you'd like to pass on.
Well, what I was going to focus on today, because we always have a limited amount of time, but believe it or not, we're actually beginning the 2018 budget process.
That's important.
So here we are, mid-July. But what happens is, for example, on August 1st, the Community Relations Committee from the board, which consists of 3 directors, Jackson Bain, Betty Price, and myself, will sit down with the resident council. And we will be going through any of the inputs that they've gathered from all the residents in terms of things they'd like to see in the budget for next year. Of course, they I've narrowed that list down, and they're working with management right now to see which ones will be included or not included. But that's an opportunity, too, for the 3 of us to firsthand communicate with residents. And then, as I said, the board actually meets here on the 18th, and in that meeting, we'll review the first 6 months' performance for the community. And also we'll get an early look at some of the key factors that will be coming up in the budget process. Now things are a little bit different this year with the CRC committee, the Community Relations Committee. It's our prime job to interface with the community because the board has less and less time to actually interface with all the different communities. So we'll meet in September with the finance director and with Shonda, our executive director, the sales director, to go over the key assumptions for the plan. We'll be looking at things like, what are the expected tax rates for next year? What are the cost of utilities? All the different factors that go into a budget. The inflation rate that we expect. These are kind of the drivers. And so we'll have an idea of what that is. And then all of that information goes into the cookie grinder, okay, and they churn it out. Now, another major input, we have a budget committee for the board, and that committee reviews all the centralized services from Ericsson. So like all of our accounting is done in Baltimore. They review all that and then give us input. But the process, believe it or not, begins now. It goes through September, October. In November, we have a board meeting where the final budget is approved. And then in December, we'll have a town hall with the residents to tell them what it looks like for next year.
Do you have any training aids, if you will, that you brought along with you that you'd like to?
Oh, no. I always have information, just in case things come up. But no, I think we pretty well have covered it. I think, we're in good shape. We're off to a really good start this year. I think it's great that Chandra now has a full staff. All the key director positions have been filled. And I know she's very happy that she didn't have to spend as much time on recruiting and interviewing, because it is important to get a good team on board. And it looks like we've got some really good new directors that have come in to take over. So looking forward to working with them.
The reason I asked about the training is because you always have such important information. And I thought maybe if on your training aid you may have forgotten to bring up a certain aspect of your discussion.
Well, I think one way or another we've covered most of the key points.
Suppose we should have a half an hour.
Yeah. So again, I think 2018 will hopefully be a good year. You know, we're well in the way. The only other point I would make is on Garden Ridge, as you know, the building is starting to go up.
Yes, they are. Well on the way.
They're also doing the internal renovations. Rose Court 4 is half finished. Rose Court 3 has begun. These are the internal renovations that upgrade to the old part. While you can look out in the courtyard and see the new building starting to get underway with the foundation and so on. For the new people, that's called Dogwood Commons, which will have 89 new rooms, 30 memory care, 59 assisted living, and then that will give us the ability to go back and retrofit all the older rooms, make them a little larger, make sure we have a private shower in every room, and we'll end up with about the same count in total.
Well, that's going to be a big improvement.
Big improvement. So we're looking forward to that, and we're also doing a lot of work now on getting ready for the town center repositioning, which you know will be a new pool and fitness center.
Yeah.
And we'll hope to get started on that next year. So,
Roy, you always come up with some real important information. And you have assured us now that you are looking at the budget, working on 2018. And this is great. And I thank you for that information. I want to thank you for being here with us this morning. It's been a joy having you.
thank you, Bob. My pleasure.